what is SOLIDWORKS Composer? Well, Composer is a software that comes as part of the SOLIDWORKS suite and can be directly integrated with the models that come out of SOLIDWORKS, but as well as other CAD software. So most of the CAD files coming out of the parent company Dassault Systems of Composer, which is SOLIDWORKS, CATIA, they're all fully integratable with SOLIDWORKS Composer, but also dumb solid files like just IGS or step files can also be used, as well as a lot of the other native CAD packages. So you can really use any type of CAD data and import it into SOLIDWORKS Composer. Okay. Now the good thing about using the raw CAD data that comes out of the CAD system is that you can take advantages of all of the detail that's in the design, as well as the metadata, things like part numbers, descriptions of components, and any other data that is used in bill of materials, for example. And this is all data that will be needed to create technical documentation of our designs, which is what Composer is all about. So with SOLIDWORKS Composer, we can create many different types of technical documentation that we can then present either in a hard copy manual. Maybe it will be an electronic copy. It could be marketing content such as renderings and whatever else. Going through the first step, we're going to see some different types of bill of materials that will be created using SOLIDWORKS Composer. We have exploded views. We have marketing content. So visually attractive renderings, things that can be posted directly to your website. Okay, and so let me just switch to SOLIDWORKS Composer now, okay, and see what it looks like. So we have the interface, which is very similar to SOLIDWORKS itself, but of course the output of this is generally two-dimensional content that will go into our technical manuals. But we'll see that SOLIDWORKS Composer is much more than that, in that you can have things like interactive content, videos, step-by-step instructions, and things like that. So we'll be covering quite a bit of this. So we have the graphics area where our model is placed, okay, and we have the assembly tree. Okay, the assembly tree is imported directly from our CAD package. So the way that it was created and assembled in SOLIDWORKS is generally how it will be imported in here. So we have sub-assemblies, we have assemblies, we have parts. Okay, we also have different types of views. So SOLIDWORKS Composer uses many different commands in order to create views, and these views are later on published in other documents. Okay, now going back to my slide here, the one major thing about SOLIDWORKS Composer is that, there we go, is that it can link, as I said, directly to the CAD data, and this gives us the ability to propagate any design changes to our technical document. So how many times do we design something and we've gotten it to the marketing stage, and then all of a sudden something needs to be changed? Okay, you might have already started doing your technical documentation, and all of a sudden a design geometry has changed or some parameters changed. A person then needs to go through all of the manuals and make those changes, make sure that they haven't missed out on anything. With SOLIDWORKS Composer, any changes propagate directly to all of the technical documentation. So if you have a technical document of 100 pages, all of the changes will automatically propagate through. And this, of course, saves us a whole lot of time. We don't have to go through all the documents and make those changes. Also, if we've got marketing material, renderings and covers and whatever else, this obviously cuts quite a bit of cost, as well as eliminating errors. So you're not missing out on anything in those 100 pages, and you make sure that everything that has changed is propagated through. So let's have a look at Composer and how it can do that. So we have some of the views that I've created from this swing set, which I'm using as my demo model. Okay, and we have a cover page for my document. I have one bill of materials. Okay, and I have some detailed views that I'm using from this model, of course. Some exploded views there that I'll be using for my technical document. Now, what happens in SOLIDWORKS Composer? All of these can be extracted and saved out using one of the workshops that SOLIDWORKS has, SOLIDWORKS Composer. We have different types of workshops, so creation of views, bill of materials, technical illustrations, high resolution images, as well as videos. Okay. In this case, I'm using this model and linking this to a Word document, which is where my technical document resides. So I have a how-to instructions manual for this swing set. When it gets sold, this manual goes to the customer. So we have a cover page. I've got some different views with some information on them. Okay, and what I have down the bottom, we have a bill of materials showing all of the parts that exist in it, and going down further, some extra instructions. Now, the point here is that if we go through and make a change to the CAD file, what happens to our technical manual? Okay, going back to SOLIDWORKS Composer. Okay, so someone's been working on the CAD data and they've decided, well, this model now needs to change. Okay, they've changed a couple of things on it, and what I need to do is actually update this document. Note, I've got my views, I've done quite a bit of work on it, and I've created a Word file, and I want to make sure that this stays intact. With SOLIDWORKS Composer, you simply go to Update Document. So update the document with another file or another version of the file. And let's say I'm going to update this with a new version of the CAD file. Simply click on Update, and SOLIDWORKS Composer goes through the process of updating all of the files. Okay, that's finished now. So a couple of things have changed here. We've got the towers, which are now taller. We have colors being changed on the top of these towers, and we have a different type of slide that's being placed in with a different cover as well. Now, one thing to note is that looking at all of the material that I've worked on previously has stayed the same. So my cover page is the same, but obviously updated with the new changes. We also have the bill of materials, okay, which is updated, and any parts and part names as well as material types as well as quantities are automatically updated with that as well. Okay, and so now what we need to do is propagate this to our technical document, which is our Word document. I simply go to my high resolution image workshop, and I'm going to be publishing all of these views, and simply save them all out. Okay, type in a file name and click Save. Okay, so those views now get saved, and in my Word document. Now I'm using Word document, but you can use PDF files and whatever else your medium for creating these documents is. And I simply want to select everything and update that. So with a quick click, we have the front page that's updated. Okay, any of the detailed views, any of the partial views are all updated. The bill of materials is also updated, and any other detail. So, I mean, this is a very simple document, but if you had an instructions manual, which is 100 pages, just this is basically with SOLIDWORKS Composer, being able to update everything with a couple of clicks. Okay, now let's move on. So we've seen some bill of materials, and I'll be showing a little bit more later on as we go through the presentation, as well as exploded views. I'll go through some marketing content as well, but propagating design changes to the technical documents, absolutely crucial, and basically what SOLIDWORKS Composer is best at. Now let me open another document here. Okay, I have this file of a toy car, and I've got a few views on the right hand side over here. So I've pre-created these. We can do things like detailed views. I mean, there's quite a lot you can do with the software itself, but then we have an exploded view here depicting how the tire comes out, and some other instructions. Okay. And you can see how these views later link in to some instruction manuals that we have, as well as some animations as well. So from these views we can directly create animations. So there is quite a lot regarding the presentation of the model, which is what Composer is all about. So different types of renderings. If I go to render style, for example, different types, different ways of presenting information, and it is really a software that is specifically for documentation creation. So you'll find there's quite a lot of settings there. You virtually have control of every bit of how the model looks. Okay. Also, visual properties are imported directly from the CAD data, but you can change and amend those and make them quite nice. So if we're looking at a front page or a rendering of some sort, look at that. It's virtually the same model. There is some skins placed on it, a background or a ground with some shadows. I can also insert a background here. If I simply go down to my desktop, insert a background, something like that, and with a couple of clicks we've got something that looks well, fairly realistic, with some extra changes maybe. Something like that. There we go. And we have a nice rendering. Simply save that view and we have our new view over here. Now let me go through to my video or animation workshop, and I just want to add this timeline over here. I'm just going to close the workshop. So with SOLIDWORKS Composer, it's very easy to create animations, and I've created one over here simply by dragging and dropping views or by changing any properties to the parts. So I'm just going to play what I've got here, and this is changing the battery. So it goes through the steps of changing the battery, replacing it, and putting all the screws back together, and then the pins. So I'm just going to replay it again. So we have removing the pins, taking up the top cover of the car, okay, removing then the battery holder, placing a new battery, and everything back together. So Composer can do this and much more when it comes to animation, actually. So let me just go back to next we're going to look at some animations and some video clips, because of course marketing is all about how things look, and SOLIDWORKS Composer can do that quite well. It can also do step-by-step interactive instructions whereby you click on the screen and it will show you the next step, for example. And this is very good for showing staff some assembly instructions in the factory, or simply by telling our customers online, well, this is how our product works. Other things you can use it for is maybe an interactive parts list where clients can automatically dig into your parts list and order certain parts, replacement parts for your product, and we can look at all of that. Alright, so let me just go back into SOLIDWORKS Composer. I'm just going to close these two files and I'm going to open another one. So this is an animation of how to operate this lathe, and of course this is not a realistic lathe, it's an approximated model, but nevertheless if I play these instructions, okay, so step 1, turn the lever, okay, the lathe teeth open and place the part, then you have to not over tighten, and we have all the steps. Step number 5, basically how to operate the lathe. Person moves 2 meters away, and then we have the lathe actually operating. And finally, person moves in and takes the part. So this is a simple approximation of what SOLIDWORKS Composer can do with the CAD files that you have, and being able to animate that and show a step-by-step process. This process can also be interactive. If I grab another model, just give me a moment please. Just want to find, okay. Okay, so in this case we have a workstation which is an assembly line or a production line with filling bottles, okay, and what we have here is an instruction manual, an interactive one, whereby we can place certain instructions, and there will be a video showing us what to do as well as a step-by-step process. For example, we need to go inside one of these chambers, and of course this is a three-dimensional model, so basically you can zoom in and out of everything. Although it looks two-dimensional, as soon as you start moving it around you can see that all the details of the CAD data are there, and that's why it looks fairly realistic. So just giving this a moment. Okay, just reopen that. All right, that's done. So our aim here is to get inside this chamber and change a couple of parts. Okay, so we have step 1, operator moves towards the control panel, and clicking that, software tells me, okay, we need to move to the control panel. Operator switches to manual mode. So next we need to switch to manual mode, and these are the steps. So initialize change request, switch the machine, validate manual mode, and now we're up to pressing the button so that we can get inside the chamber. Okay, so we press the button and then continue. Once you open the door, you're inside, and we have 2 different operations that we're going to be looking at: replacing the short nozzle, which is a 1 litre bottle, to the 2 litre bottle nozzle, and also moving back the bottle guide. So if I click on this, this will play through all the steps. So turning the handle, removing the nozzle, placing it, and taking another nozzle, placing it back in, with arrows, with instructions, with notes if you like, and whatever else. And you can go back to any step and just have a look. So turning the lever clockwise, maybe we want then turn the nozzle, removing the nozzle, jump to any step you like. And we have this home button which takes us back. So this is an example of interactive instructions using SOLIDWORKS Composer and using the CAD data which you already have. Just going to close this now, and let's look at some other interactive content which you can either use in-house for your for the workers on the shop floor, or you can have it on your website. Let me just grab the file that I'm after. So although most people use SOLIDWORKS Composer for simply doing their instructions manuals, it can be used for far more than that. And this is a larger file, so it's taking a little bit of time to open. Okay, and there we have it. This is Resumen, which use SOLIDWORKS to design their machines, as well as SOLIDWORKS Composer to create documentation. They've given us some of their content that they've created, and this is great. So we do have the whole of the model, which is in our graphs, so we can look inside of any detail of the model. But more than that, we've got the ability to look at a couple of different areas here. So we have replacements parts, we have some maintenance, and some operational features. Well, let's just have a look at these operational features. So I'm simply clicking onto these, and we can see how the replacement boom works, for example. Clicking again and clicking again one more time. So that's the operation of that replacement boom. Stabilizers, in and out, and then the steering. So simply by clicking, you get that sort of content. Going back home, maybe we're going to look at some replacement parts, and this is a great way to have your products placed online so that people can come in and actually choose what part they require and buy it. So we have replacement parts, and we have a few different areas that we can look at. I want to concentrate on this part here, so I'm just going to click into that component, and we have a an exploded view as well as a parts list. So this is 1, 2, 3 areas of our model. We're going to look at the rotating unit. Dig deeper into it, okay, and we get a more detailed parts list. And this is, of course, something that you can do with Composer very easily. We have each item, and what am I looking at? I want number 7, okay, which is the expanding shaft pin. Clicking on that there, digging deeper into it. So this is, again, a subassembly made up of 4 components. The part I'm interested in is this pin. I need to replace it, okay. Now, I have the pin, what it looks like. I can even rotate it because, of course, this is all 3-dimensional content, okay. I've got my part number, I've got my description, an expander pin, simply add to cart. Okay, so that's one way that SOLIDWORKS Composer can be used for, as well as some maintenance instructions for your factory workers. Okay, so let's look at the controls, for example, and what each control can do. Okay, going back. That's in a nutshell SOLIDWORKS Composer. So we've had a look at creating different types of bills of materials, exploded views, as well as marketing content, so renderings and things like that. And of course, all of these can be updated, and design changes can be propagated from the CAD file, where all of the content is automatically updated. This saves us time, it cuts cost, and eliminates any human-made errors. We've also looked at some different types of animations and video clips, and some step-by-step instructions. Now, all of this content can be published on your website very easily, okay, and all of what I've done here can be viewed by others online. It can be embedded into Word documents or PDF documents, but also SOLIDWORKS Composer comes with something called Composer Player. And let me just grab the correct one. So we have SOLIDWORKS 2016 Composer Player. This is a free application which you can have on any of your computers in your organization. So you don't need to buy multiple licenses for people to be able to view and use the content. All you need is one license for people to be able to create the content. Okay, so I've got that, and I'm just going to open one model in this. Okay, let's just say the swing set. Okay, this only has one view, so it's probably not a very good example. Just going to do another one here. So the player has all of the functions of SOLIDWORKS Composer regarding of viewing content. You're just not able to create any content. So we have all of the views which we can look at, and we also have any instructions or videos. And there we go. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for attending this short webinar.